I'd love to meet with them. I just want them to open up the country first. You know, the country is so hot right now, and they've never voted against, you know, continuation. They've never voted against. They've never done that. They're doing this because they have Trump derangement syndrome. But I would love to meet. I would like to meet with both of them. But I set one little caveat. I will only meet if they let the country open.
President Trump signaling that he would meet with Democratic leaders, but only on one condition: they must reopen the government. Top congressional Democrats Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries urging the president to meet with them before he goes to Asia to address international trade tensions. The president hosting Republican lawmakers for a luncheon in the Rose Garden yesterday, where they presented a united front, calling for Democrats to vote to extend funding. GOP leaders reportedly are making plans for a new, longer continuing resolution to fund the government at current levels as the government shutdown drags into week 4. I want to bring in Georgia Congressman Buddy Carter. Congressman, there is some reporting in the Hill this morning that according to sources, GOP leadership sources, there's several options under consideration because of the calendar, because of the date, that November 21st may not be actually doable at this point. We had Speaker Johnson on this program yesterday. I asked him about this. I want you to listen to what he told me.
We got them all through the Appropriations Committee in the House, 12 separate bills. We passed 3 off the floor. The Senate passed 3. They don't match up exactly, so we have Conference Committee working to work out the differences and get that done. The next batches that we will pass through and off the House floor are being prepared right now by the appropriators, and they're doing that in bipartisan discussions, by the way, because this should be something that's bipartisan. So we're very optimistic that we can keep that process going forward and be better stewards of taxpayer dollars. That's our call and our charge here. We're working on it very hard. Republicans in charge will get that done. We just need, again, a couple of Democrats in the Senate to help us because we need 60 votes over there. We only have 53 Republicans.
But Congressman, your reaction, because some of these Republican sources are saying there's not enough time at this point.
Well, we do need more time. We need more time for the appropriators to do their job. They're working diligently, I can tell you, and as the Speaker indicated, in a bipartisan fashion. So giving them more time, and then we may need to do a longer CR. We may need to do it further out than November the 21st. And if we have to do that, then I think that our conference would be willing to do that. But until Chuck Schumer, John Ossoff, and the Democrats in the Senate agree that we need to continue and we need to open this government back, we're not going to be able to get anything done. They are holding our troops, they are holding our government workers hostage in order to get health care coverage for illegal immigrants. And that is something that's not going to happen.
Well, that is something that you're calling on in particular. You mentioned Senators Ossoff and Warnock. You know, I mean, obviously the Trump administration, now we're learning this morning that the Trump administration is going to release more than $3 billion to aid U.S. farmers. I know this is something that's near and dear to your heart. That money has been frozen as a result of the shutdown. Now, he's directing the Agricultural Department to distribute that money from a fund that was used to bail out distressed farmers during his first term. Georgia farmers were supposed to receive $531 million in Hurricane Helene aid, but that is delayed. And that is something that you are, again, calling on Ossoff and Warnock to step up to the plate on.
Again, another example of where they're holding Georgia farmers hostage in order to get health care coverage for illegal immigrants. And that's despicable of them to do that. John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock need to represent the values of the state of Georgia. They do not do that. They are not representing the farmers. Agriculture is the #1 industry in our state. Our farmers right now are in the midst of the harvest season. They need this money. They need this aid in order to get the crops out of the field. And this is something that the senators don't seem to understand or don't seem to care about.
So when we had Speaker Johnson on yesterday, you know, he was talking about these different bills. So 3 of the 12 appropriations bills are there. This is the VA, agriculture, and the FDA. So that money, this seems to be where the movement is.
It is, and you know, we got those 3 bills done. Now the Senate has gotten 3 bills done. They're different bills, so we've got to conference and we've got to work these out. But I'm confident that we can do it, as the Speaker indicated. Evidently, the appropriators are working in a bipartisan fashion, and I applaud them for that. This is something that is important to our country, and we need to get this done. And yes, I'd like to get back to regular order, and all of us would. We'd like to be able to pass these these funding bills, but let's get the government open first. Get the government open, and then we can start negotiating on things that we need to be talking about, like the ACA subsidies. These subsidies are going to be important. Yes, we understand that. We need to negotiate, but get the government open first, and then we will negotiate.
What did you make about these comments from Senate Majority Leader Thune? Because he says it's time, quote, it's time to start thinking about the House coming back, and then it was extending the time for a CR. You know, that's pretty much, in my mind, he's putting that pressure on Speaker Johnson.
Well, it appears that he is, but let's make sure we understand. We in the House did our job. We passed a clean CR to get us through November the 21st. And in the past, the Democrats in the Senate have voted 13 times for CRs. Now they don't want to do it. They voted 11 times here against this CR that we passed in the House. They need to pass this CR. If we need to extend it further, yes, we will do that. And certainly that's something that I'm willing to go back, and I think all of my colleagues are willing to go back and do that if we need to.
Yeah, it just seems like that in particular, and I asked him about this, you know, we've got people like Congressman Kevin Kiley who are now openly criticizing the leadership of Speaker Johnson. He did say that he had a conversation with Congressman Kiley. Real quick before you go, you introduced a resolution recognizing October of this year as American Pharmacist Month. You're yourself, of course, a pharmacist. Tell us about that.
Well, it's important that, you know, when it comes down to healthcare, we all want the same thing. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, or independent, you want accessible, affordable, quality healthcare. Pharmacists are the most accessible healthcare professionals in America. Almost 9 out of 10 Americans live within 5 miles of a pharmacy. We value the services that pharmacists provide in this country. And that's why even Dr. Oz has said that the $50 billion is supposed to go to rural hospitals. He wants some of it used for pharmacy services. And I think that's a very good idea and a very good use of money. Mm-hmm. Pharmacists are some of, as I say, the most accessible healthcare professionals in America. And we celebrate and we applaud them for the work that they do.
Congressman Betty Carter, it's always great to have you on the program. And we're going to be watching what unfolds today on the Hill. Appreciate it.
Thank you.